Now that the recall is over, many California voters are wondering if the recall was a waste of time and money.
State lawmakers said today they plan to work on a proposal to change the recall process. KTVU's Rob Roth talked with lawmakers today, and he joins us now from the newsroom with more on the story. Rob.
Julie, after Tuesday's election, some Californians are calling for a recall of the recall. That appears unlikely, but there could be some changes ahead to the recall process. One day after Governor Gavin Newsom beat back efforts to recall him, two Bay Area Democratic lawmakers say it's time to fix what they say is a broken system.
The voters want to see a more democratic process put in place that keeps elected officials accountable, but prevents political gamesmanship of the rules.
Steve Glazier of Orinda chairs the California State Senate's Elections Committee. On Wednesday, he and Assemblyman Mark Berman of Menlo Park announced plans to hold hearings and craft a new recall process.
We absolutely do need recall reform. I think a majority of Californians are very frustrated that we just spent $276 million on this process, on this recall election. That, from the looks of it, has certified what voters said 3 years ago.
It will be up to voters to approve that process in the form of a future ballot measure. Any proposed changes have yet to be determined, but one question is whether mere disagreements over policy should be enough to trigger a recall.
A discussion about whether or not some criminal misconduct or malfeasance should be a kind of threshold issue is something that we're going to discuss.
Another concern is whether a recalled governor should be replaced by someone who gets less than 50% of the vote.
There are some who feel like it should be a runoff. There are some who feel make a very compelling argument that the lieutenant governor should simply step forward if the recall was successful and subject that acting governor to an election at a future date.
Following his victory, Newsom offered no proposed solutions to the recall system.
I'll leave that to the legislature and others to process. And again, I just think it's a strange place to be as someone that, might be on the receiving end yet again.
Newsom and former Governor Gray Davis are the only California governors to face recalls, but there have been 53 other attempts on governors since 1912, attempts that didn't get enough signatures in time to put them on the ballot. David McEwen, a political science professor at Sonoma State University, questions whether California voters would approve any changes.
Do you want to go with the devil you know, even though it might be ugly and difficult and problematic, or do you want to go into that great unknown? And that movement into the great unknown gives many voters pause.
Republican leaders say the recall process does not need changing. The Bay Area lawmakers say they hope to hold hearings beginning in the fall and put it before the voters by November 2022 at the earliest. Frank?
Rob Roth live for us tonight. Rob, thank you.